Oh gods! Help! Oh, my wing! If this is your doing, Palam, I was only doing as your... Please don't hurt me. I'm only here by mistake. I swear it. You're going to help me? Where are you taking me? Just there? Please, I wouldn't wish to burden you. I've no right to ask for your help, and I'm the one at fault. Well, if you insist. Thank you. You're too kind. To be brutally honest, I expected a human such as yourself would have attempted to chase me off the moment they spotted me. Not that I could have gotten very far, what with my legs and my wing in such shape. It may be a minor miracle that the damage is not worse. Oh, I'll heal all right. I don't know how much you know about Thofyran. Our metabolism works differently to that of a human's. Some residual pain will remain by tomorrow. But by next afternoon, I should be well enough to take to the skies. Do you know of some place I could stay in the interim? Stay here? No, you don't have to do that. You've done more than enough already. Besides, I understand that humans don't have much of an affinity for my kind. I couldn't ask. Well, no. Not every Thofyran is a thief. But that stereotype doesn't exactly exist without precedent. I only mean that I would understand if you were uncomfortable around me. No. I'm not here to abscond with any of your supplies. I hadn't even intended to enter human territory. You're not uncomfortable around me and I may stay? How could I ever repay your kindness, human? Well, that's quite a long story. My name is Aatai, and how I came to be here is a bit of an imbroglio. I would not wish to bore you with such details. But you may very well have saved my life this day. I suppose you deserve to know how I came to inconvenience you. Only if I wish. I appreciate that. I am a member of the Moromodi tribe. The Moromodi are one of the only tribes that are ruled by the Vassals of Palam. Are you familiar with what that means exactly? In that case, I will fill in the missing pieces for you. As you're likely aware, the Thofyran were created by Palam. He gave the ancient inhabitants of Al-duh-kihn the ability to flee an enemy siege on great and powerful wings. Many believe that the king paid Palam's price too rashly, and sacrificed not only his subjects' ability to grow food for themselves, but their honor and reputation as well. On the other hand, the Vassals of Palam are Thofyrans who believe that price was never paid in full. They posit that, without Palam, our ancestors would never have survived, and that we owe him our lives for that reason. Whatever Palam might ask of us should be done without question, and with utmost diligence. In fact, Palam himself demands that we not ask what his designs are. The vassals are led by a teller, a sort of priest, if you will, who serves as the mediator between Palam and his people. For Palam also insists on keeping his distance. Our teller is a man named Latak. He's never much liked me. Why? Well, for one thing, he says I'm too curious for my own good. Even when I try not to, there is a part of my brain that wonders why Palam asks us to do certain things, or even why he requires us to do so unconditionally. I thought so too. After all, I asked myself, why should anyone with righteous motivation feel the need to withhold their reasoning from their disciples? I've asked that question to myself many times, after I learned not to ask it out loud. But Latak would always see it in my eyes, and his answer was always the same. We owe our lives to Palam, and he does not owe us answers. You could say that I struggle to see things from the perspective of the other Vassalites, and that causes tension. Some days ago, Latak came to us with instructions from Palam. We were to travel very far to the west coast of the Ramoa Sea and disrupt human operations there in an effort to destabilize the region. He insisted that I would be among those to travel there, but I could not understand what purpose it would serve. You could? Well, perhaps you can explain it to me later. When I could not find it within myself to do as Latak asked, he said what he always does. That the reason his answer was never sufficient for me was because I was just afraid. He said that I knew that Palam would ask us to put ourselves in harm's way, and so my mind found reason to question him in an effort to preserve my own life. He told me that, if I would not aid my fellow Vassalites, I would have to take on a separate task alone. It would teach me to stand up in the face of danger. And so, he instructed me to take only what supplies I could put together before morning, and take flight across the Thofyran plateau. I was not to return until I had crossed the entire region, and I was not to allow myself to be spotted. Both objectives I have failed. Anyway, I was not even halfway across the Thofyran when I became lost. I spent a whole day trying to get my bearings. Toward the end of the day, I climbed high to get a better perspective, and that was when a sudden gust of wind swept me off my wings. Those gusts kept coming until they coalesced into a great gale. I had not enough time to reach the ground and land safely, so I tried to outrun the windstorm. By the time I reached the human border, I was exhausted beyond sanity. The wind swept me up again and carried me around haphazardly until I struck the ground. It is fortunate I managed to land so close to you. I was so terrified. I even began to consider that Palam had sent the storm to punish me. I was this close to simply begging his forgiveness. Perhaps Latak is right. Maybe I am just a coward. What right have I to demand an explanation from one of the key? They are gods, and I am just this. Palam is, after all, the one I have to thank for my very existence. As it happens, maybe I've tricked myself into believing I was in the right, so I could keep myself out of danger. What I would give right now for the bravery of the ALDAKIN. You admire my strength? What strength? The strength to stand up for my principles, taking on an absurd mission at my own peril, rather than following my peers into one that would have resulted in greater chaos and distrust. That's certainly a different perspective on the matter. I don't know if I can see it that way. Yes, I think I should like to get some sleep now. I could never express in words what gratitude I feel for your help. You are very generous. This will do. Good night, human. I hope you rest well. I can speak with honesty when I say that I've never felt so secure in human territory before. I'm almost grieved to part from you. I gave serious consideration to your words last night. They meant a lot to me. Palam has a reputation outside of his vassals and acolytes for a reason, just as the Thofyran do. If he refuses to make known his objectives, there is serious cause for concern, don't you think? I knew you'd agree. Palam doesn't care for material creatures like us. It's more likely he aims to destabilize the entirety of Layard. Well, I feel well enough. I must now return to Al-duh-kihn. I have to tell him I failed my mission. But, should he ask me to begin again, I will have to refuse. I think he genuinely believes he's doing what's right, but I don't agree with him. I don't know what it is I'll do from here, but I know one thing. I'm going to keep asking questions. I'm going to keep being curious, and I don't know. I guess I'll see where it leads me. I've inspired you. How so? You've decided to return to the war front? I didn't realize you were a soldier. Well, I have no idea how I'm responsible for helping you find your motivation, but I'm glad I have. Are you from Ran, by any chance? Well, I suspected a human who's had to live with his nation's tarnished honor for the cowardice of a few might be more empathetic to someone who suffered a similar fate. It was only a notion, but I'm glad to have been right. Do you think it's true what they say about the Ranian nobles? That they were turned into animals as punishment for their weakness, that they became the creatures you humans call Thofyran? Just a myth, is it? I suppose that's good, but I'll admit, it would be somehow gratifying if there were another race of people out there who might be able to commiserate with the plight of the Thofyran. Anyway, I'll be on my way, as you will be soon. I'm sure that battlefield longs for your sword to return. Or, that is, whatever blade it is you use. Good fortune, kind soldier! And may the gods smile upon you!